Once again, we have some really big spoilers, and the information, while brief, is actually quite groundbreaking. Jailer is probably the most mysterious being thus far in World of Warcraft. In fact, so mysterious that he has actually gotten annoying. However, recently some Dungeon Journal information revealed to us what are his actual goals. Finally, we have something concrete and not just speculation and piecing two vague hints together. Additionally, even more spells from the final encounter were just data-mined, so we know what happens to Azeroth and the World Soul, and the entire fight is a bit more clear. Obviously, big spoilers ahead, so without further ado, let's get into the information. If you ever wanted to record your raids, arenas, Mythic Plus, check out Squad OV. The app records itself without a click of a button. You can see complete encounter stats, spell visualizations, analyze performance, and you can also watch your friend's perspective. Best of all, you can do it from anywhere just from the web app. Use the link in the description to check out the sponsor Squad OV completely free. To start off, I gotta say I blame myself a bit because when the expansion started, I actually was really impressed with the lore. I knew everything was revolutionary, new lore, but to me, it had a lot of potential. It kinda felt fresh. I know this kinda sounds ridiculous from this point, but there was just so much potential. Seriously, look at it this way. Going into the afterlife is no doubt playing with fire, because the afterlife is what gives significance to mortal life, and if you mess it up, then all actions are kinda meaningless. However, while risky, if Blizzard approached this the right way and introduced a lot of characters, a really interesting expansion could be made. Just look at it this way. Sylvanas told us that this world is a prison, which we had no idea what she was even talking about. However, we went into Shadowlands and found a really weird place. All these realms that work together as an essentially glorified anima engine, and when you went into the 4 realms that we were able to visit, you realized that they're not exactly the idyllic afterlife you would expect. For example, if you were really honorable and self-sacrificing in life, you would be sent to Bastion, where they would essentially brainwash you, make you forget about your family so that you can become a glorified taxi driver for other souls that will get the exact same treatment. Even worst case is Maldraxxus. If you were a warrior and a really brave soul, a fighter, you would be sent to this god-forsaken realm that looks like the Plaguelands to fight to actual death with abominations, skeletons for all eternity. I know warriors love fighting and all, but damn, it's one thing to fight, it's another to live in a smelly, disgusting zone as an undead creation for the rest of time, for all eternity. So yeah, we can speculate from the start something wasn't going right here. How is this the afterlife we deserved? It seemed like an order was imposed here, and what Sylvanas said was right. This world really is a prison. You don't get to choose where you want to go. You're essentially assigned zones for all eternity, and for example, if you go to Bastion, you need to get brainwashed. You can't choose. Well, then we learned about Zobal, this mysterious figure that we speculated was actually a good guy despite not looking like one whatsoever. He was such a well-hidden secret within the Shadowlands that they never referred to him by name and pretty much just wrote him out of any history records. Then we learned that he was betrayed by his brothers and sisters, that there was some great, huge war long ago that happened in the Shadowlands with a void and a light invasion that may or may not be connected, and then that he used to be the original arbiter, but it was his curiosity and longing for freedom that had him imprisoned. Naturally, this got us thinking that maybe Shadowlands wasn't such a machine long ago and that there was actually free will. This of course aligned with Sylvanas saying that we never actually had free will and that the obviously world is a prison. Well, all those theories started to lose a lot of their meaning when the jailer was freed. He betrayed Denatrius easily, even more easily discarded Sylvanas, enslaved Anduin, and told us that he just wants to undo reality. However, I still had hope that maybe this initial storyline would happen. Well, fast forward to 9.2 PTR and we finally have some concrete hints that actually reveal his purpose. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't the actual ending of the story. There is still a ton of room for other things to happen, but this is the official Dungeon Journal, like what they wrote, and I doubt there is much wiggle room for him turning out to not be such a bad guy. Well, we got this flavor text as the final boss of the Sepulchre, and this is what Blizzard officially tells us, and I quote, "For millennia, Zobal manipulated forces throughout the universe to place him in this position of power. At this final step, the heroes of Azeroth rallied to fight a cosmic being who has never known defeat." This immediately got me thinking just how dumb this actually sounds. Yeah, Zowell manipulated forces, but it doesn't seem like he did this to get into a position of power. Even the newser said so in that interview. Originally, it seemed like he was in a position of power, he was imprisoned, and then all manipulation seemed like it was an effort to get back to where he actually was. However, this other bit is the more nonsensical bit. The jailer is apparently a being who has never known defeat. My immediate reaction was like, what? How? Just how the guy whose entire identity is a prisoner who got wrecked by everyone and imprisoned in a god-forsaken realm to be bound by chains with magic specifically meant to seal his defeat is in any way a being who has never known defeat. Thus far, the only victories he ever had seems to be against us, and it's like a month's worth of victories. Hardly enough to get a reputation as a being who has never known defeat. However, this is just minor flavor text. We actually have big information on his motives from another journal encounter. So one of the bosses in the Sepulchre is called Dosenye, I guess that's how you call it, a fallen oracle controlled by the jailer. He or she, I'm not sure even if they even have genders, has a dungeon journal entry, and it says this, I quote, "Controlled by Zowell, Dosenye leads the Mawsorian battle to gain control over the Forge of Afterlife. With its power, the jailer will be able to create an eternity of torment." Honestly, I don't know if I've ever been as disappointed in the story, but if this is it, this is like the lamest culmination of all the build-up that we had speculated a year on. Really, all this stuff, all this imprisonment, the manipulations, the scheme, the Dreadlords, the Sargeras Universe altering stuff, the Lich King, all this was done because this guy wants to create an eternity of torment. Really? It is all that simple? I mean, it makes sense the guy has obviously been painted as a straight-out just black and white evil in this entire expansion, but really there isn't any more nuance to this. He's just evil because he's evil, he's deaf, so he's evil. His entire motive is just to create an eternity of torment. I don't know about you, but to me that just sounds really boring. He wasn't the underdog, a guy that wanted to recreate something else to break free from the tyranny of the first ones. Even if he was evil, this could have been done in, I don't know, how do you say it, a more complex way? Is he really just such a one-dimensional villain? Again, we are yet to see what will happen in the story, but seeing that Blizzard literally wrote this officially, I'm not sure how much nuance can actually be added. Aside from this, we also have big further spoilers. That is the actual encounter, the final battle of the Shadowlands. Now, I've already talked about this in a different video, but there is actually new information, and now it is about 20% more clear what happens in the actual fight. So, the ultimate battle happens, or at least some of the phases happen somewhere where the jailer is in connection with Azeroth, maybe even on Azeroth. He throws cosmic energy at our world soul and is obviously intent on killing it. Now, it was confirmed if he succeeds in this, if we fail in the boss fight, he actually kills Azeroth, the reality is undone. This more than likely confirms the theory that Azeroth is a soul that is actually being used as an engine to power these mechanisms of the first ones, aka Azeroth is reality. There is a trigger called Azeroth Armageddon, which, while still unclear, probably happens if we're defeated and Azeroth reaches 0 health, meaning a universe-type cataclysm happens. If you're not aware, we are actually shielding and healing Azeroth in this fight and protecting it from the jailer. However, there is an even more interesting bit. There is a trigger called Azeroth Visibility, which used to be called Azeroth Phase 3. This more than likely indicates that Azeroth will actually appear in the third phase of this fight, more than likely as an avatar in some shape, which could also hint at Azeroth awakening or partially awakening in the final battle. While this bit is kinda cool, I gotta admit, if Azeroth finally awakens and we learn about the boss fight, what I really don't like is that the jailer is doing all this stuff so just that he can do his evil plan, because you know guys, he's evil. Did we not tell you that he's evil with all the chains and the prisons? Honestly, if the story ends up being so one-dimensional, then all this stuff Sylvanas said and did just makes no sense in the end. What did she even mean by free will? Is it really going to end up that she was just simply manipulated and he told her just a fake story? Honestly, they would just end up so cheap. Thank you for watching. Check out Will Sylvanas be the avatar of Azeroth by clicking on the screen, and check out Donut's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.